Hi, this is Richard from Level Up English, and today we're going to look at two very important tenses in English and the way we use them a little bit differently from each other. We're going to talk about the simple past tense and the present perfect tense. Now, this can be difficult for some learners, especially French learners, Russian learners, because this just doesn't exist in your language. So we're going to try and explain it today. Let me give you two sentences to start us off. Sentence number one, I lived in London for 3 years. Sentence number two, I have lived in Paris for 7 years. Now, sentence number one, I lived in London for 3 years. That's a simple past. Remember, when we make the conjugation for the simple past, it's normally verb plus ed. I'm sure you're aware there are 1,000 exceptions of this. Eat, ate, drink, drank, become, became. You've just got to learn those, unfortunately. The simple past, we use it for two reasons. Number one, to talk about an action that started in the past and finished in the past. So I lived in London for 3 years. That started years ago. It finished years ago. It's just finished. Okay? It has no relation with the present. Or we can use the simple past when we talk about what we'd like to call finished time. Whenever we use words like yesterday, last week, last month, January, it's August now, so January, 1975, the 19th century, in the Renaissance, in the Middle Ages, just a time period that's just completely finished, we use the simple past with that. So I went to Italy in 2017, for example. Now, that second sentence we looked at, I have lived in Paris for 7 years, that is a present perfect. Remember, how we form the present perfect is have or has, she has, he has, it has, plus past participle. So whenever you learn all those verb lists, drink, drank, drunk, eat, ate, eaten, it's the third one we use with the present perfect. And we use the present perfect for three reasons. One, for an action that started in the past and continues to now. So, I have lived in Paris for 7 years. That means that started 7 years ago. It continues to now. It's still the case right now. Number two, we use it when we talk about unfinished time. So, like with the simple past, we talked about finished time, yesterday, last week, last month, 1975. The present perfect, unfinished time, we talk about things like today, this week, this month, this year, the 21st century, 2020. We also use words like recently, already, yet. We use the present perfect with all those terms because the time's not finished yet. Let me give you another example. Yesterday, I drank 2 cups of coffee. Yesterday's finished. The action of drinking the coffee is finished as well. Today, I have drunk 2 cups of coffee. Now, the action of drink, I have no coffee, so the coffee's done. But because today is not finished, I still have the possibility, because there's a few more hours left of today, to drink another one. So because the time period's not finished, even though the action's finished, I can always add to the action if the time period is not finished. It's like when I talk about life experiences. I have visited Italy 3 times in my life because my time as my life is not finished yet. So maybe I'll go again in the future. But I would also say Elvis Presley visited Italy twice. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I know that Elvis Presley is dead, so his time is finished. It's just like we could say Mozart wrote a lot of great music. Ed Sheeran has written a lot of great music, or has written a lot of music, depending on your musical taste, because Ed Sheeran is still with us. He can continue to write music. Mozart doesn't have the same opportunity. So this idea of open time or unfinished time and finished time. Finished time we use with the simple past. Unfinished time we use with the present perfect. And finally, we use the simple past to indicate a past action still has a consequence now. Let me give you an example. Oh no, I have lost my wallet. Now, I probably lost my wallet when I was on the metro this morning. So the action's finished. The action of losing is finished. However, because now I have a problem. If you've ever lost your wallet, you know you need to do a few things. You need to call your bank and cancel all the bank cards. You need to maybe call the metro system and ask if they found a wallet. You maybe need to call a friend or a family member to get some money, or you might even need to call your bank to get some money. So even though the action was finished, the consequence of that action is not yet resolved because I haven't done all of that and I haven't sorted all that out. So it's just to say that the consequence of the action is not finished. Now that can be a little bit difficult sometimes because you could say, I lost my wallet. Now that is true, but if we say, I have lost my wallet, that gives the impression that the consequence of that action is not yet finished. So it's a little bit subtle sometimes between those two. So just to resume, remember, we use the simple past if the action's completely finished and the time period is finished. And we use the present perfect if the action's not finished, or if the time period is not finished, or if we want to give that impression that the consequence of that past action is not yet resolved. Look, we're not trying to get 100% perfection when you're learning a language. It's nice, but it's not practical because when you aim for perfection, you don't take risks in a language. And by taking risks in a language, that's how you improve because you learn from your mistakes. You should be aiming for about 80%. If you can get it right 80% of the time, that's pretty good. That means you're going to be confident when you're speaking. You're going to be understood. People are going to understand you, and you're going to be more expressive when you're talking. So, if you've got any questions about the simple past or the present perfect, put them down in the comments below, and keep an eye out for future videos. Don't forget to follow. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.